Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, T. Welcome in.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. Anybody who's here, please put in the chat and let us know you're here. I know there's a few people already popping in. I can see it, mainly on my YouTube channel, which is great. And I want to introduce you to Tara Bentley Leitch.
Hi, everyone.
So please tell us a little about yourself. I met you, I think it was around 2013.
We met around 2013 because your mother lived down the street from my partner and I, or my husband. And I became dear friends with your mom. And then, unfortunately, upon her passing, you and your sister arrived, which I thought was going to be for a short minute, but you were there for like 2 years and allowed us to really get to know each other and bond a friendship. And I was so fortunate that it all happened that way. I always say that things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. So that's when we met. And it was probably about 2 years before I started my transition, because I started transitioning in 2015.
Okay, that was the year that she passed, 2015.
And that's when I started, because being a transgender person, most people don't know this, but you, in order to start your transition, even before a doctor will see you, you have to have 5 years of psychotherapy. Your other doctors, your cardiologist, your primary care physician, they all have to write letters. It's not just I think I'll just become this today and go in and have a surgery. There's many protocols that you have to go through and many hoops that you have to jump through before anything is ever done. So yeah, that's when I started that journey.
Yeah, so I met you before that. And I want to show some pictures
Certainly.
because I love what you sent me, and I want to get the one I just had up first. And they're so small that I want to make sure I get the right one. Yeah, where did it go? Okay. Well, I'm going to actually pull up what I remember. Now, this was probably about 2015
That was in
or 14.
2017.
2017. Okay,
Mhm.
2017. So that was when I was getting ready to leave. Oh, there it is. There's the one I wanted to do.
That was my high school graduation picture. I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, lived here my whole life, and a graduate of John Marshall High School. So that was my class of 1981 senior picture.
And as you were telling me before, you grew up with the cowboy hats, the cowboy boots, the
I
whole.
did. You're conditioned when you live in Texas that there's a certain way to live. And my parents owned a ranch. My father had a cattle ranch, and I rode horses. I wore jeans. I wore cowboy boots, cowboy hats, all of that. I was, I guess, your typical kid in Texas.
Yep. And
But
so,
I wasn't as typical as most people thought. Then uh, I had a good way of hiding everything.
you weren't being your authentic self.
I was not. Well, I was in a place where I really wasn't afforded that opportunity to be my authentic self. So, you do what you can when you can do it. And so that's what I did. I played the part that I had to play until I didn't have to play it anymore.
Okay. Now, I just pulled up the chat so you can see what people are saying. And
So small, even with my new cataract surgery, I still can't read that.
yeah, my glasses do help. Robin Klink is the first one on. And well, Wade was okay. She's at the top. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
So she's the most recent one. Now she's on the East Coast, and I've got to pull something for you. I didn't know she was going to be in, but I'll pull it in a minute.
Okay.
Brenda Watt happens to be outside of Houston.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, Brenda, neighbor.
Yeah. And Kokomo, I'm not sure. I know I saw her yesterday and coming in today. Miss Harley just popped in, and she is
Hey,
East Coast as well. Laura Wanzer, I can't remember. And then Wade is here in the Arizona area on the other side.
you
I'm
all for
going to,
joining. Thank you all very much.
yeah, thank you for coming in so much today. And please share this. I know, Wade, you're very good at reminding everybody to share it, but please, everybody share, because what T is going to tell us today is going to help you understand a lot more,
Hopefully, hopefully,
hopefully. Well, the words will be there. It's up to you to choose to understand them or not.
correct.
And Brenda's saying, hey, okay.
Hey, Brenda.
Okay, then I want to get to, we did 2017, and let me find um, how I remember you. This is one of the first ways I remember you. I know where this is, and I think that's B standing next to you.
I think it is too.
Because you two dressed so dapper at church. I mean, it was great. And
Thank
that was the way that I grew up thinking all men should dress, not the jeans and the t-shirts and stuff like that.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we're old school. I
Yeah.
mean, let's be real. We were born in a time where you didn't wear jeans and t-shirts to church. You were taught to wear your Sunday best, and you did what you were told to do. It's not like today where it's a free for all and I have my rights, and you just did what everyone was told to do. So
But this was, even though that's the way we're brought up, you still um, bring out sophistication and classiness, I think.
thank you.
So,
I try to do that whether I'm dressed like this
mhm.
or you'll show a picture, I'm sure soon, of what I look like other times.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter to me which persona, because let me first start off by saying, yes, I'm transgender, but I don't identify as male or female. There's some days I get up, Julie, and I think I am exhausted. I've got this, and this to do today. I'm not putting on makeup. I'm not doing all of that. I just want to run to the grocery store, get a few things, and I may go just like this. So it's easier at my age to be non-binary. Had I had the surgeries earlier in life when I could have stopped the male hormone from um, being so prominent and putting more of the male features on me as I grew older, I would be able to have transitioned a lot easier. It wouldn't have been as traumatic. And a couple of the surgeries I probably wouldn't have even had to have gone through. So, because of the time period I waited, it caused issues. And at my life now, as you well know, I've had heart issues. I've got 7 stents in my heart. Back in 2009, I flatlined twice with congestive heart failure. I'm a cancer survivor. In 2002, I had 4th-stage non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I've had health issues that wouldn't allow me to fully transition because of the blood loss and all of that sort of thing. I just couldn't. It was too risky of the surgery for me to endure. So, you find a place where you can be happy, and that's where you plant yourself. So I found this happy medium for myself. Um, and my partner is okay with where I'm at now. Everyone's okay with it. So I'm happy. Finally.
Well, and I know we'll get more into the emotional and mental issues of what you did. You already talked about the 5 years of psychotherapy, so that's understandable. I want to pull this one up. Now,
Oh, my impatience.
and that's his house, or it was his house,
That
or
was,
her house.
we sold it. Yeah, we
Yeah.
sold it 2021.
Oh, okay. So 4 years after I sold mom's house. Okay.
Yeah, we sold, and it was the best move for us, especially at our age, because we wanted a life that wasn't tied to a house. We wanted to be able to travel, pick up, and just go. And so this move really enabled us to do that. So
Yeah, let me
just
turn that
another
off.
reminder.
What? Oh, Wade is
Oh,
reminding everybody to hit the like
yeah.
button and
Thank you,
notification.
Kate.
Yeah. And do you want, I didn't share your Facebook page because I didn't know how crazy it would get.
No,
But
I'm fine with that. If you want to share my Facebook page, I'm
okay.
absolutely fine with that.
All right. I'm going to type that in. And T is on Facebook. And I am spelling it. It is just what it was on everything else. Oops. I always get Bentley messed up.
Like the car.
Yeah. Okay. And you can find, you can like her um, T's page. I'm getting strange with the he and her, so I do
You're
apologize
okay.
for that.
Being my age, I don't get twisted in the pronouns. As long as you love and accept me for who I am, I don't care what you call me. I really don't. That's your own battle. I'll let you deal
Yeah,
with that.
and I know it is. And it's like if I just say T, then I'm
And
good.
I don't get offended if I'm dressed like this and someone says he.
Yeah,
How can
and
I get
it's
that?
the baseball cap too.
Yeah, how can I get out of that? If I'm dressed as a woman and you
Oh,
see I've got heels and a dress on, probably calling me he wouldn't be the best idea. But
and your yeah, your Southern Belle will be coming out. I bet you. Let me. Which one do I want to pull up here? Um, I'm trying to find the epitome of yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Where is it? I know it's here somewhere. There's so many pictures, guys.
I sent her
And
a lot upon request for this
yeah.
interview.
Well, I'm just going to start with the easy one. I love this one.
Thank you.
It's so sophisticated, bright, cheerful, and you. So,
That was my promo shot for Miss Trans Texas 2023.
oh, and you won that, didn't
I
you?
did win that. Yes, I was. I was Miss Trans Texas 2023.
I don't know which one
I
is.
think there's one in a blue dress with a.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
There I am.
Yeah. I love that one too. Where is that?
So I was photographed at a
Mhm.
studio, and then they AI'd the background for me.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, where is that place? I want to.
Well, that's how I love to do. It's like I want the background to be somewhere fabulous. A lot of it is just the editing, but the photo is really me. That's what I look like, and I think you have a couple of videos that you can show to see.
Well, they came in as all pictures. I didn't see any of the videos, so I do apologize for that. But I do have this.
So I'm the one in the middle in the blue gown, and that was at Miss Gay, Texas, America. There are three different major platforms for pageantry. America is one of the systems, and they require you to show up and interview in a suit and tie so that they can see the total transformation.
Oh,
Now
wow.
that I have started my transition, I'm no longer eligible to run in that pageantry system. But that was my first time going to state. I won a prelim. I won all 4 categories of my prelim. I won Q&A, evening gown, talent, and presentation. So I did a sweep on that, won my prelim to state. Most of the queens told me, don't get excited. This is your first time to state. You probably won't even make top 10, because those are the ones that have come back for several years that usually make top 10. And I was okay with that. I was going really for the experience. I made number 8 out of 32 in Texas.
Wow.
So I placed top 10 my first time around, which is unheard of. But I was happy with it. People like, you won 8th and you're happy with that? Well, yeah, I am, because that was, to get there your first time around is not an easy quest. So I was really happy with my placement.
And Robin is asking, what was your talent?
Oh my gosh, my talent for that pageant was I did 3 different personalities. I did Minnie Pearl, I did Loretta Lynn, and I did Patsy Cline. And I had a great big book brought out that said country classics on the top or on the front of it. And I had a cowboy come out. The book was like 8 feet, 9 feet tall, and like 3 feet wide. So they opened the book, and on the first page it said Loretta Lynn, and I came out from behind the book dressed as Loretta Lynn. In 7 minutes, I had costume, wig, jewelry, shoe change, and did all 3 performances in 7 minutes.
Wow. I'm going to say, and wow, where am I at? Okay. The chat does one thing, and the overview of the chat does a totally different. What I was trying to get, something else I was trying to get on here. What was I trying to do here? Okay, I went to do something else, but let me see. Sorry about that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Now, do you do multiple ones? Oh, this one, I have a question. I haven't seen it yet.
So that was a performance in Dallas, Texas at the Rose Room. And the guy in that picture was my promoter. So when you're doing drag, and drag is very different than being transgender. Most drag performers are male dressed as women, and that's as far as it goes. But some of them have transitioned. But he was my first promoter, and he was the promoter for Miss Gay Texas America for like 10 years. And I became part of his drag family, because when you do drag, you become part of a family. Most of them are invited to become part of a family. I was invited to become part of that family. That man in that picture showed me how to bead my gowns. He showed me how to put on my makeup. I was a hot mess before I met him. And he really taught me how to really be me and how to own this.
And Harley says that's amazing. Excuse me.
And yes, I have trained other participants. I had a couple of drag daughters myself. And now that I'm retired, I did my last show this past December. I'm retired because my husband retires this following December. And I want to really be able to just travel with him and enjoy the fruits of our labors.
And you have done a lot of work, and so has he. Because I know he wanted to retire a couple years ago. And,
He did.
And
But
Mr. Big,
we put kids through school, and we have 2 daughters. One's adopted. One was my biological daughter. I was married for 5 years before. So I got married at the request of my parents and against my wishes, but I did it anyway. I didn't want children. I told the woman I married I didn't want children. 2 years into the marriage, I realized it wasn't for me. But it was already November, and I thought, I can't leave a marriage here at the holidays. I'll wait till the new year. get a fresh start. That January, the first week of January, I had a balloonogram delivered to my work stating that she was pregnant. So I decided to stay for 3 years because I didn't want to leave without my daughter knowing who I was. And I knew that since she was now here, I wanted to play a prominent role in her life. Um, I was a good dad, as you well know. We put our kids through school. My daughter got her master's degree in business administration with an emphasis in HR without owing a dime when she graduated. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of our other daughter that's given us two grandchildren in Seattle. She went on to marry a gentleman in the military. He since got out of the military and is now a fireman in Seattle. We have four grandchildren, and I love every one of them to pieces. The daughter here is having a hard time with my transition, and I understand that. And I don't really hold any bad feelings or grudges. When she comes around, then she'll come around. This is hers to deal with now.
Yep.
I waited until my kids were well grown. As a matter of fact, I put off my transition for a couple of years because my daughter got pregnant in college, and her senior year in college, I was home with the baby. I stayed home for 3.5 years raising the baby for 12 to 15 hours a day so that she could go on and finish her education. And I honestly, I have no regrets. That was the best time in my life getting to spend it with that baby. We love our grandchildren. We just love them and adore them. And no, and then B's also a grandparent because he's step grandpa. So, but we love the life that we've created for ourselves. B and I have been together for 25 years. We met in Las Vegas. That's where he lived. I was out there doing a hair show. I was a hairdresser for Paul Mitchell Hair Products, and was a senior national educator for them for many years. Went on to do my own thing, and I really enjoyed my career as a hairdresser. That was really wonderful. But it took me to Las Vegas where I met B. They say what happens in Vegas stays there, and I say, is that great? Bring it. Yeah. So 25 years later, we're still together. We've been married since 2015, since the law changed. And hopefully Texas won't be revisiting that law. They're trying to get it rebuked to roll back marriage equality, which I really hope doesn't take place. I just don't know how our government's going to be able to reconcile that with Social Security and benefits and all of that. It's just going to be a hot mess. And so I hope they just leave it where it's at. I just don't see any need to roll anything back. My whole thought on that is if you don't believe in gay marriage, then don't marry a gay person.
Exactly.
Just that easy. If you don't believe in being transgender, then don't ever transition. It's that easy.
It's choice.
It's choice.
Oh, sorry about that. I wanted to show this real quick.
That's one of my haircuts I did on one of my clients.
Yeah. But that you have other talent besides that. Also, real quick on the other, yeah, you've got that. Go ahead.
I love arts and crafts, and I know it drives my husband nuts because I've always 3 or 4 projects going on. Like as we were sitting here talking, I also crochet. I'm doing this throw. Actually, it's a wrap for one of my girlfriends that lives in Arkansas. I make here's a set. Here's a little baby hat and a baby blanket. And I crochet about 20 of those a month and give those to a nonprofit here in San Antonio for newborns. And then I do diamond dots. I don't know if you know what diamond dots are, but they're these little bitty beads, and you put them on.
Oh, wow.
That's thousands of beads.
Wow. Oh, I love that tree. That's gorgeous.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
I'll have to send this to you. I'm going to send that to you, Julie,
Oh.
for having me on today. But I do a lot of stuff. I love to write. I love to do creative writing. There's a hat and scarf I did, another baby blanket,
And
more baby blankets. I love my babies.
And we have been talking about bees, so I wanted to put picture up.
That's my husband and I together.
And where was this?
That was in December of last year. That was at the gala I did my last show for. It was a benefit for people living with HIV.
Oh, okay. I'm going to hide myself instead of hiding you. So now you can see T at the same time you can see the couple. So, and I also have one of an evening out.
Yeah, that we went out. That was our 20th wedding anniversary. We went to a steakhouse here in San Antonio. It was really fun.
Which restaurant was this?
That was a Perry Steakhouse.
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
And when you talk about being crafty and decorations, I'm looking for it. And you know what I'm about to pull up. Again, these are so small, it's hard to see. Oh, well, I'll pull this one up because I've seen this one.
That was our home. I did professional Christmas decorating in the wintertime. Just something I love to do. That was my personal home that I did.
And you did see the picture before of the gardening.
Right. Gardening has been a passion of mine since I was young. And I just loved it. I just love it. And it just made me feel so close to the earth to be able to get my fingers in it. I love being dirty and getting in the dirt. And but I also love cleaning up and going out to nice places.
Yes, you're definitely not one dimensional. I'm saying
No, not
so
very.
much going on. Yeah, I thought I had the picture of the house up here, but it might not have been uploaded. I thought I had, but we'll see. And what else? I already showed you that one. This one. Now you went from Tara Casey Bentley to
Okay, so
Tara Bentley.
Tara, I started out as Tara Bentley. That was my stage name when I started doing shows. The KC was the guy that I told you was my first drag father that taught me the makeup and stuff.
Oh, okay.
That was his initials, and that showed that I was part of that family when I put the KC in my name. So Tara Casey Bentley now affiliated me with that family. Since then, I've dropped out of drag families. I'm just doing my own thing. So I dropped the KC, and I'm just now Tara Bentley Leitch. Leitch is my husband's last name that I took when we got married.
And this one.
That was after my second year. I had already won 4 crowns.
What are those crowns for or from?
One is for Miss Gay Lone Star America. One is for Miss Fiesta. One is for Miss Universe Elite. And I can't remember what the other one is for. Oh, Miss Gay Texas United.
Okay.
That was when I won Miss Gay Lone Star 2018. That was the prelim I won, and that was me in 2019 as Miss Gay Texas United.
So you said this was a prelim for?
That was a prelim for Miss Texas America, where I won 8th in state.
Oh, wow. And you have a different look in every single one.
I can't see the name of who just posted it, but I wish you lived nearer to me also. That would be fun.
Harley, you'll just have to come out here.
Yeah, you just have to come to Texas. I don't know what else to say. I've got a spare bedroom. How about that?
Well, I wouldn't know about Texas. Both of you can come to Arizona for a little
Well,
bit.
that would be a trip, wouldn't it?
Yep. Now this
That
is a totally different look for you.
that's a totally. I call that my Mary J. Blige look.
Oh my. And I
That's one
love
of
this one
my
too.
husband's personal favorites. Yeah, my
Well,
husband. That
this one?
yeah, both of those actually are
Oh,
his.
okay.
Those
Dark hair. Yeah.
red, dark red,
Okay.
like an auburn.
Yeah. And this one was in a unique spot.
That was I was performing in that
Mhm.
picture.
And where was this at?
60 years old in 6-inch stiletto heels. Somebody should shoot me.
I understand that.
That was at a place called the Bonham Exchange. It's one of the oldest gay bars in San Antonio. Tara needs to take.
His husband to Sweden. Victor lives in Sweden.
Oh, I wish I could go to Sweden, but right now, one of the places that my husband and I were looking at retiring was Thailand because of its acceptance of transgender. The healthcare there is superb. The low cost of living, it just seemed a perfect fit for us. But because of all the rhetoric in our political arena today, they're making it very hard for expats, U.S. expats, to come and stay. They're making the visas harder to obtain. They're more costly. That is my husband's absolute favorite. He loves that dress. He loves that hair. He loves everything about it. That's my Texas hair.
Yes, that's definitely Texas. Definitely.
If you didn't know where I was from, that hair gives it away.
Yeah. Is this the one? Yeah. Just popping in.
Thank
Now,
I am trying to be very careful, but this is a very interesting state to live in today's climate.
yeah.
It's very, and to be honest with you, um, how do I say this without sounding crass? So I fought long and hard in the late 70s and 80s for our freedoms. Um,
Yeah.
and I was criticized. I was politicized. I was every kind of size you can think about for doing so. And we won a lot of freedoms. But it seems like the kids today are just sitting on that. And you can't just sit on something, you have to continue to make it grow. And they're now losing their rights. And I'm at an age where I don't feel like fighting anymore. I fought the fight. It's now time for the next generation to step up and fight the fight. I don't think it's fair to keep asking the same ones over and over to put that forth. I mean, I think we've done our part. I think it's time for the next generation to do theirs, and we'll see where they can go with it. I hope Southern.
Harley says, so true, Southern beauty. Really
Oh,
nice
thank you
picture.
so very much. Thank you so very much. At the end of the day, being trans, being not trans, we're just people, just like everybody else. We put our clothes on the same way everybody else puts their clothes on. We just want what everybody else wants. We want to live a life of love.
Mhm.
We want peace and serenity. And we want to be true to ourselves. And I don't think that that's asking too much in life. I think everyone deserves those qualities in life. And I, I just hope people can find it. Being from Texas and being here right now with all the political unrest, it's very difficult. And there are days that I feel more anxious than other days. And I don't go out. I don't go to the mall. I don't go shopping. I stay to my home. And there are other days where I feel just fine. It's just how I feel that day. And I do accordingly to my feelings. If I don't feel it, I'm not going to do it. So,
And as you said, you dress the way you're feeling as well. So you do what you feel is best for you that day. I love
that's
that.
true. That is true. That is true. And it's not just the political end of it. And I know this is so even in the gay world, we find that we get the same rhetoric in the gay world. Like the gay men talk just as ugly to trans women as heterosexual men do. And I don't get that. We're all from the same tribe. You know, show a little dignity, show a little respect, but they don't. I mean, they fight within themselves, and it's hard to have anything major when you can't come together as a group themselves. So I don't know. I think there's a lot that could be learned from that. I know when I came out as bisexual, I can't read that.
I made it bigger for you.
As bisexual, ending up coming out. I'm sorry that you've been dealing with that, but yeah, it's something that we all deal with, and what people don't realize is I'm not just a queer man. I'm not just a transgender person.
You're you're a divine being having human experience. I mean, we tell that to
Human
people all the time.
experience. Exactly.
So this is Brenda from Houston again. Most of my friends from college turned out to be gay individuals. We fought so hard in the 70s for gay rights in Houston and
Amen.
Texas. Caucus.
So, my whole takeaway is we're all people. And, we just all want to be treated the same with the same respects, the same dignities as everybody else, and to live and let live. Like I told Julie before the program started, if you don't believe in gay marriage, don't marry a gay person. If you don't believe in people transitioning, then don't transition. If you just like marriage isn't for everybody. I wouldn't advise that to all of my friends. Some of my friends, yes, but not all of them. Um,
Yeah.
it is sad. It's a sad state of affairs, but that's where we are. It's where we've come today, and it hasn't just turned up overnight. This is something that's been going on since about 2015. And I
Well,
honestly,
2015, you guys got the rights to marry, so it happened before that.
it it did
Well,
happen
the
that,
yeah, the fight
but
to
then
get
we
that.
got the rights. But as soon as we got the rights, all the hatred started,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that's where it started. And then in 2016, when Donald Trump ran, and I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I just don't. To me, that doesn't make any difference because I have friends on both sides of the aisle. Be civil.
Yeah.
Show some humanity. That's all I ask.
Yeah. Yeah. And we signed up for stuff. Yeah. And then Brenda, live authentically.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that. You know, I I tell people I'd much rather know what all this is about than wonder. And so if today I can bring any clarity to what being transgender is, to understanding the pronouns, whatever questions that any of your audience might have today, I'm happy to answer them here and now because you can get the chance to do that.
Yeah. And Jazz has come in. Um, yeah. And you and I were talking earlier
Hmm.
about how you were brought up. You and I have the same. We were brought up under the same political ideologies.
Correct.
I might have been born and raised some of the time in Missouri, and I was going to say exactly where, but and then moved to Kansas and ended up in Texas before I moved here to Arizona. So I understood Texas while I was living there. And you were talking about rights. Well, Texas, I love the state. I love most of the people, but it wasn't just um, people who, well, it wasn't just sexuality that caused the problem. Remember, the hatred came out way before that.
Oh yeah. Well, I will tell you this, Julie, and there are other people I'm sure that have been in interracial relationships, and I don't care if it's Asian and white, black and Hispanic. I don't care what the mix is.
Right.
People have a certain opinion, and here in Texas, they're very opinionated. So, so being in Texas, being gay, being in an interracial relationship, and now being transgender, I'm the trifecta. I'm the worst you can get as far as that goes. And you know, this is something that a girlfriend asked me about, and I never really considered it until she said it, and it was like a splash of cold water to my face. She said, "Why would you go from the top rung of the ladder all the way down to the bottom? I just don't understand it." And I said, "What do you mean the top rung of the ladder? I'm not wealthy." She said, "No, you're white, number one." She said, "You're male, number two." She said, "Those two qualities alone put you at the top of the ladder." And I never thought about that, but it was true. It really was true. As a white male, I never understood what um, all the rhetoric was about, and speaking with him into the head. Yes, that's true. Um, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought because I
Yeah,
read.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. Where was I going?
Oh, now I forgot. I was
Okay, we were talking about so I guess what I'm trying to say here is that um, her feeling that I was at the top of the
yes,
ladder going down, you know, with everything that I came out as being gay, it was a rung down the ladder. And
right.
I never really considered that. And I didn't really see myself as being privileged because, as you know, I've worked very, very hard my whole life,
Yeah,
and did without. You know, we did without a lot. I grew up kicking cans down the street. We didn't have a lot growing up. As a matter of fact, um, in middle school, I was asked to spend the night at a friend's house, and it was during the week, and I can't remember what the cause was, but it was during the week. And I remember his mom serving like fried chicken or something for dinner that night. And I thought, are y'all having company? Is someone important coming? They said, no, why? I said, well, your mom served chicken. They're like, well, yeah, that's a protein, it's a meat. That's what you have. And I'm like, but it's not the weekend. We only had meat on the weekends.
oh
During
wow.
the week it was potatoes and something or oh my gosh, my mom would make this stuff called goulash and it was horrible, but she made it. And or mac and cheese, that was a staple at our
Wow.
house. You know, that's but meat, that was a Sunday staple. And that it wasn't for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And we were real lucky. We got hamburger, I guess goulash with hamburger in it and noodles or macaronis and tomatoes and stuff. We ate that and that was filling, but you know, I came from a poor home. my parents didn't have money until we were in high school, and they started to acquire, but it was very hard growing up. I didn't have a silver spoon. I know people look at me now and think I grew up having a silver spoon in my mouth because I'm so blessed, but I'm blessed because I worked hard. I'm blessed because B and I saw a path and decided to take it. We've never been given anything. We've worked for everything that we've had. And that's, I try to show the kids what hard work is about, the value of hard work. That seems to have been lost.
And yeah, we were talking about that earlier. A lot of things that have been lost, and they're just sitting on their laurels, expecting everybody to do for them.
Mm-hmm.
The new generations. I did want to say Texas is a world of its own, although
Oh.
certain areas are slowly seeing the world in a larger view. A lot of the rural areas, the small towns, they are still very backwards. And as my granddaughter and I would say, very vanilla.
But, Julia, as I was telling you earlier, before the broadcast began, we were speaking about families and relationships. My father and I didn't really have a good relationship. The only thing we could talk about were cattle, the weather, and my car, my truck. Other than that, we really didn't have a relationship. And when I came out to him as gay in high school, he was like, "No, that's not going to happen." To get the background, my father was a fireman, and after 10 years in the fire department, he went over to the police department and then became an arson investigator for the city of San Antonio and held that job for over 20 years.
Wow.
So my father's a good old boy. He's just a good old boy, and you just don't. There's certain things you just don't. So, there were beatings in the house. There was a lot of drop kicking and punching, and I think I had my nose broke 3 times before I left high school. And I hated him, and that's a very strong word to use, and one that I really don't like to use. But at that time in my life, I truly did hate him, and did everything in my power to be nothing like him. It wasn't until I was able to mature in my way of thinking and my thought processes, and I was able to find an understanding with him. Did my father hate me? No, he didn't hate me. He loved me. And I know that because the beatings weren't there to be mean and ugly. They were there to protect me because he knew what I was up against living in the state of Texas. He knew what I would be going through in school. He knew the challenges I would be facing. He knew because he was a cop. He knew about the raids on the gay bars here. He didn't want to see me in all of that. So he did everything he could to try to protect me. And it wasn't until years later that I developed that understanding and was able to go to him and finally have a civil conversation about our relationship, about the forgiveness in that relationship. And when my father died, I was at his deathbed holding his hand as he took his last breath. And I did love him. I loved him for the lessons he taught me. Would I have wanted to learn them? Were there other ways to learn those lessons? Probably, and yes. And he could have done them differently, but he did the best that he could. And having that simple understanding of him doing the best that he could with what he knew at the time, that was all I needed. And then on his deathbed, he did apologize to me for the cruelty, for all of the things that took place. And I told him the forgiveness had been given years ago. That was the only reason I was able to still have a relationship with him, was because I had already forgiven him. Yeah. So I think that's a lesson that can be learned by many, forgiveness.
And it's very important. And like you said, you were brought up a certain way. Well, he was brought up even more strict than you were, because he was brought up by veterans in the veteran, what am I thinking of? Generation and the one before that. So they were a lot more strict with their upbringing, and you had to do this, you had to do that. So,
Do as I say, not as I do.
exactly that too. Yeah, no, you shouldn't be drinking as they're downing at Jack Daniels. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, you know, part of the lessons I learned from my dad really enabled me to raise my kids the way that I raised them because I did everything opposite. Everything was a direct opposite. If my dad was going to do that, I was going to do the opposite instead.
Yeah.
And um, so yeah, and my girls will tell you I was a good parent. I never struck any of my kids. Looking back, should I have? Maybe once or twice. But
There, yeah.
I believe that hitting only teaches hitting, it perpetuates anger, and I've always been able to just talk to my girls. My youngest, when she was in middle school, her last year of middle school, she stole my ex-wife's car one night. So my ex-wife calls me and she says, "Someone's broken in and they've taken Callie and they took my car." And I said, "Linda, she wasn't stolen. She stole your car." I said, "Call her." "Well, I've tried to call her, but she won't answer my phone call." I said, "I'll call her." So I called her and she answered my phone and she says, "Hey, Dad." And I said, "Where are you at and what are you doing?" She said, "Well, my friend," she had a friend that was spending the night. "We took Mom's car up to the grocery store because Mom was out of milk and we knew she'd need it for breakfast tomorrow morning. So we're at HEB." I said, "You stay right there. We're on our way." And I got there and I didn't say one word to her. I just went over to her and I said, "I want you to know how disappointed I am in you." I said, "Callie, I don't know that my trust level can ever be regained." And I didn't say that to make her feel bad. I did that because I wanted her to really see that there's going to be consequences to this. And later on in life, she told me the hardest thing that I ever did in life was disappoint you. She said that was the hardest pill for me to swallow. She said, because you didn't get angry. She said, I would much rather you had beaten me to death or yelled at me. But she said, you didn't walk away in anger. You just walked away in love. But the disappointment on your face about killed me. And I said, well, good. Then I did my job.
Yeah. And your choices were breaking the cycle, evolving for a better outlook for the future.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
That was hard. Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, and I think we should all be praying for parents.
Yeah. Yes, it's a rough time out there, but if each of us follow your example, be true to yourself, and like you said, you went through a transition. I'm going to pull up the graphic that said it all to me, and this is it.
As I told you before, Julie, that picture without a word exemplifies what it feels like to be transgender, to be stuck in a form that you don't feel natural in. So
Yeah. And I hope that helps you guys understand um, how someone who makes these choices are is feeling. But you said you had to go through multiple years of psychoanalytics in order to be able to do that before the doctors would
and another
let
thing,
you do it. So,
I shared with you pictures of my actual surgeries.
now, if you guys are ready, I will show them, but you
I,
have to tell me you're ready.
I I shared those with you because I want people to understand that it's not just a simple decision. Number one. Number two, how bad I must have felt being in my old body to have to go through this to feel more like myself.
Yeah. So please, if you're okay with it, I will post these pictures. But I want to warn you ahead of time.
They're graphic.
They're graphic. They're real life pictures.
Yeah,
They're
they're real
not
life.
the graphic without the words. They're real. um, I do want to ask you one about the face. Okay, Michelle Frost. Hello, Michelle. Michelle
Hello.
is in Tennessee, and she was one of my guests on, and she's a musician and a singer and a caregiver.
Oh, lovely.
And you help people too. And when he was talking about his clients as far as hair and makeup and stuff, he's helped out a lot of older women um, feel better about themselves and look beautiful um, before they're um, going to, you know, before they're passing. I was going to say transition, but it didn't fit. So
Right.
before
Before
they're passing,
that's
and then
important.
yeah,
So in 1 year, I had 3 major surgeries.
okay,
Each set of surgeries was over 10 hours long. The first one was 12 hours. And in that surgery, I had FFS, which is facial feminization surgery.
is
That's that's where they
that's
cut
that one?
across from ear to ear across the top of your head. That's it. No,
Okay.
that was the
Oh, that's it. Hold
that
on.
was the second one. That's it.
Okay.
They cut you across your head. They fold down the flap of skin that goes over your forehead. I had my brow bones grinded down to smooth like a woman. I had my forehead reshaped. They took out this part of my skull, reshaped it, and set it back in with titanium screws. I had my nose fixed that my dad broke 3 times. That was fixed. This is all one set of surgeries, 10, 12 hours of surgery. I had my Adam's apple removed, which is called a tracheal shave. I had this cut right here, and they raised my lip up to look more feminine. I had my lips reshaped. And that was the first set of surgeries. The second set of surgeries, that was from laser. I had a laser treatment done for scar removal.
Oh, okay.
So then that was done in February the 3rd. May the 3rd, 3 months to the day later, I went in for a full facelift, neck lift, and upper and lower eye lift. Now,
Wow.
while I was going through all these surgeries and starting a year prior to that, I started hormone treatment. Um, and hormone treatment does several things. Number one, it softens your skin.
Thank you for.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to put it where people can see it bigger. And Michelle's daughter is transgender, so
Well, I'm doing this not just for myself, but I'm doing this as a tool to help others understand. And as a parent going through one of their children transitioning, as a brother or sister trying to understand their siblings transitioning, anybody can get an understanding from this. So the second, so prior to any of the surgeries, I started hormonal therapy. First by taking pills, and then later, once I leveled up, I became where I was injecting them. So before I go on with the surgeries, let me go back to the hormone because the hormone therapy is huge. Actually, it wasn't painful at all. I didn't even take painkillers. I just went through it, but I have a high pain tolerance. So you're absolutely welcome, Michelle.
Oops, sorry.
So um, part of the hormonal therapy, it does so many changes to your body. I started growing breast. I went from being very flat chested to what B my husband calls ant bites, but they were just a little bit smaller than an A cup, kind of like when a young girl first starts to develop. That's what happens. And then the more hormones you take and the more it increases, the larger they grow. But you also, on top of estrogen, you're taking progesterone. And so I started growing breast, but they would never develop much more than an A cup, a very small A cup. But on top of that, I was having other things happening in my body um, that I wasn't even warned about, which kind of was like, okay, this is weird. So about 6 months into hormonal therapy, when the testosterone level and the because I started like this:
Yeah.
testosterone here, estrogen down here. When it gets to this even kilter, the person taking that experiences almost a menopause
Oh, wow.
experience. I didn't want to be touched sexually. I didn't want to be touched. I didn't wear any clothes other than undershorts around the house because I was always on fire. My husband called me his ever loving oven because I was always burning up. And so you go through that hormonal change and it feels like you're going through menopause. And then after that, it's like one day the light turns on and you want to be sexually active again. Those feelings are coming back. Um, and I'm going to speak some very personally, and I'm saying this not just to throw it out there. I'm saying this so that people understand that there is a definite change that occurs through hormonal therapy. Um, one of those is even climaxing. As a man, it felt one way, but after taking all these therapies, hormonal therapies, my climax was completely different experience than it was as a man. I For like 2 weeks after I first started having sex again with my husband, I was getting mad and upset. And he goes, "Why are you upset?" I was like, "Because I could have been having this experience the whole time, and I feel shortchanged because my experiences as a man was nothing like it is as a woman." So not only physiologically are you being changed, but physiologically you're being changed as well. So, um, so then I was having the therapies. Well, as you well know, hormones causes weight gain.
Yes.
And I never believed that. I'd see a big woman, I'd think, girl, step away from the table. It's just that easy. Have an extra bottle of water. It's not that easy. Hormones are a real thing, and they can be a booger. I gained, when I started my transition, I weighed 150 pounds. At the height of it, when I started my surgeries, I weighed right at 200.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I had the surgeries, and then the first one, the FFS, my throat and my nose was in February. May, I did my facelift, neck lift, upper and lower eye lift. And then in November of the same year, I had 360-degree vasoliposuction with fat transferred to my butt and my breast because I never wanted implants. As a hairdresser, I can't tell you the horror stories of the clients I had that had to go in for um, to get things fixed. Either it popped or it stuck to a wall or it moved or I just didn't, or they had cancer because of leakage. I just didn't want anything foreign in my body. And if I could get, like right now, I know you can't tell because I'm in a t-shirt, but I'm a full B cup. If I push the girls up, they look like a full C. I don't need more than that. Most women don't.
No.
And I had people tell me you should have gotten bigger breasts to go with your body. And to me, it doesn't, breast size does not make the woman. I feel comfortable in my skin this way, the way I am today. Um, and again, going back to my experiences as a hairdresser, I can't tell you the women that complained about the backache, the shoulder hurting, all of that because of being so largely breasted. And most of them eventually ended up having reductions done. So why would I want to go all that and have to go back in for more surgeries? I'm just trying to do as little at this point. Plus, I don't want to spend all my life savings on surgeries. Once I get it done, I want to be one and done. The facelift, the neck lift, and the upper and lower eye lift I had done because I did look very aged. And Julie, you can tell them I looked well beyond my age when you knew me because of, well, the cancer treatment.
Right, right. But you didn't look bad, but you looked
Old.
ragged, I would
Well,
say. Very
yeah,
ragged.
because of the heart failure, because of all the other health issues I had, it really did a number on my looks. As a matter of fact, I told my husband, I know black doesn't crack, but this is ridiculous. You know, he looks like he's 30 years younger than me.
Yes.
I look like a caretaker. And I said, you know, this isn't, I don't feel good with it being like this. So I feel like I look the way I would have looked not having gone through the cancer and the heart failure and all of that stuff. So I really feel like I just took the 20 years that I aged from those things off.
Yeah. But you had posted two different times. One, you were, and I wanted to show you the B cup. Um, Somebody said, I wish I could, was a B cup. Anyway, um, you had posted, one time you posted that I'm dieting. And then you
Mm-hmm.
went to the doctor, and the doctor said, stop.
Stop dieting. Yeah, because we need that fat for the transfer. And I wasn't thinking about that. So I had lost 10 pounds. I got down to 190 and I picked up the 10 pounds because it wasn't hard. Because if I could run faster than whatever it looked good, then it was going to get eaten.
Yeah.
It didn't
And
last around our house.
no, and you're a great cook.
Thank you. That's another love of mine. I love to cook. Someone put in there, this is medically fascinating. I thought it said
Yeah,
frustrating. So I'm glad it said fascinating.
fascinating. Yeah,
It is fascinating.
because of the hormone stuff. She put that in there then.
It is fascinating.
The other
I
post we did.
I learned things that I didn't even consider going through.
Yeah.
This was a learning process, and a lot of friends would tell me, well, tell me, how does this feel? Tell me, what about this? And what do you think about this? And I'm like, I'm going through this. I'm not on the other side. So
No. Yeah.
I'm still developing my own feelings, my own thought processes. I'm still developing in all of this and trying to get an understanding for myself. So it's hard for me to convey an understanding when I don't even have that for myself.
Going back to after a lot of the hormones and after um, you started having sex again, you had posted one time, and I don't know if it was around that time. You had posted one time, if I was born with a vagina, I would be popping out kids for B all along.
We
All
would
along.
have 12 kids. We would have had 12 kids. I'm very thankful I wasn't born a woman because, oh my God, I'd be in the poorhouse. But I love children. You know, that's a fault, and I still love little kids. I have always loved children. I always wanted a house full of them. I know I said earlier when I got married, I told the woman I married I never wanted children. And that was because in the back of my mind, I knew my sexuality, and I wanted to see if I could survive in just the marriage without even bringing a kid into it. I wouldn't want to do that to any child, to bring them into an uncertain situation.
Right.
So that was my whole thought process on not wanting kids at the time.
Yeah. But I just remember those posts because every once in a while I would see your posts and just laugh at some of the things. And it's like, okay. But I didn't realize as a woman, we know how we are. But
Mm-hmm.
to go from a male to a woman and you know how both of them are dealing with.
That's my girlfriends come to me and they'll say, okay, you're the best person to ask this. I said, why am I the best person? Because you can give me both perspectives truly from both sides and not just what you think that other side is thinking. And I said, well, that is true. I mean, I do get, and so when I see an argument between friends, it's like, well, I get her position, but I also get his. It's like they're both right, but they're both wrong. So it's hard to be in that. I find myself in more neutral territory than I've ever been in my life because I understand both sides of the coin, and that they both are right, they're both are wrong. So
Yeah. And how is that with B these days?
he first of all, he's the most patient, laid back. If he laid back any further, I'd have to put him 6 feet under. I mean, he's so laid back. I have to check for pulses sometimes. He's he's okay being in the shadow. He's not a forefront person. He's very quiet. We are direct opposites. I mean, night and day opposites. And they say that's what makes the world go round. And they say opposites attract. And I guess that's true because 25 years, and to be honest with you, Julie, after 25 years, I don't know many people that can say this, but I love him more today than I did yesterday.
And he was a major reason that you got through this as
I'm
well
glad
as
you
you
said
did.
that. He is a major reason because a major percentage of relationships of transgender people, if they're in a relationship before they start their transition, over 90% of those relationships end sometime during the transition because the partner that isn't transitioning um, didn't sign up for that. They didn't realize. In my case, it was a little bit different. I've always had a feminine quality to me,
Mhm.
and I'm sure you saw it
Oh, yeah.
before I ever transitioned. And so when I told B, so here's what I did. So I'm seeing this psychotherapist, and so the day comes and she says, well, you've decided to transition. How are you going to tell your husband? And I started crying. I said, I don't know. I don't know how to do it. Well, maybe we can bring him here and, this will be a good forum for him to hear it in. Well, I was suggesting in my own head that she tell him.
Oh, no, 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 no.
It didn't work out that way. So she invited him. She called him and she said, hey, T, this is Dr. So-and-so, and I'm T's therapist. And he says, yes, I recognize the name. And she said, well, we would like to have a session and we'd like to bring you in on our next session, which is next Friday. Will you be able to make this time? And we set it up. The next Friday comes, and he drove from work, and I was already at the therapist's office, and he comes in, and I'm seated on the couch and she's seated in her chair, and he takes the seat next to me on the couch, and he says, okay, so what's going on? And the therapist looks at me and she says, well, T has something to tell you. I'm like, oh my God, what did I just get into? Is there a rock in the room I can crawl under? And so I told him I wanted to transition. And he got this, and you know how he gets that blank look? He
Yeah.
gets this blank look on his face. He says to me, he turns to me without even looking at her. He says, you mean to tell me
Yeah. Go ahead.
the body was. It is incredible.
Yeah.
He turns to me and he says, You mean to tell me that I took 2 hours off of work today for you to bring me here and tell me this? I went, yeah. He says, I've got to get back to work. He goes, I'll see you when you get home. And I'm like, okay, but where does that leave us? So that night he got home, he says, I don't know why you think I'm such a stranger. He says, don't you know I knew that she was in there the whole time? He says, this is not a shock to me. And I said, well, me getting female parts might become a shock to you when you've got two breasts flopping around that you're not used to. And, that's not what you signed up for 20 years ago. He said, no. And I said, I was afraid to tell you because I didn't want to lose you. And I was afraid to transition because I didn't want to run you off. And he said, through all of the last 5 years of the therapy, it's taught me a couple of things. This hasn't changed, and this hasn't changed. The box it comes in may change, but the insides are all the same.
Yep.
And that's true today. He'll tell you, I still married the same person. They're no different. And I'm not any different. Physiologically, yes, I am a little different. But he is okay with where we're at. He's comfortable with our life and where I'm at in my transition. This is now it for me. I will not be undergoing any more surgeries unless it's a little nip and tuck here and there to keep the eye fresh. But other than that, nothing major. I'm really comfortable with where life has placed me and where I've come to in life. And I couldn't be any happier with my situation, with my home life. I have a pretty incredible home life.
Yeah.
We travel. I don't want for anything. And that's B. B is a wonderful provider. We provide for each other, I should say. He always says, thank you for everything you do for us. And I'm always like, thank you for everything that you do for us, But now you can be more comfortable in your own skin. And I am. Thank you very much, Michelle. I'm very much more comfortable in my own skin.
And I met him before the transition.
Mm-hmm.
I was there when he started the meetings on the mental and emotional stuff. But now to see him, and I'm sorry, I keep seeing the other person. To
That's
me,
okay.
it wasn't a mask. It wasn't truly you, because I knew it wasn't truly you. And I think I'm like B, is I saw
You saw beyond
the
that.
within. Yeah.
Most
And
people
yeah,
do. I think most people do.
yeah. But you were so lively, outgoing. You made church good. When mom passed, you made our lives easier. And to see you put up the greenhouse and utilize it and stuff like that. So your kindness was so much more to us when we needed it. And just hanging around and going to
Your
your house
mom
for
was a
dinner.
sweet woman. Your mother was a very sweet, sweet woman. I just adored her. Her mother was a gardener, as I love to garden, and we shared that love with each. We'd walk down and trade plants, or I'd cook something and we'd have enough. I would always take Dia. She was by herself in a couple of houses up the street, and she'd walk her little dog, and that's how it started. And then I went down to see her garden, and she came back to see mine, and we just started like conversing in the front yard. And then I'd invite her in, and after a while, we just became friends. And then one day, all of a sudden, here's her two daughters. I'm like, well, where's Dee? And she was gone, and it was like,
You were the last one to see her alive.
I know that I was. I know that I was. Yeah, and I knew that I was because I saw your mom the night before.
Yeah, that was 5 days ago was the anniversary
Oh wow!
of
Wow.
10 years. It's been
Oh my
10
gosh. I
years.
can't believe she's been gone so long. It does
I
seems
know.
like yesterday. It
It
seems
does.
like
It does.
yesterday.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And
And
so,
yes, my husband is a fantastic person. He's
yeah.
very, thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. And
You know, we
they are,
talked about what my life would look like if something ever happened to be, and just like I've asked a couple of my girlfriends, we're at an age where our girlfriends are losing their spouses, or even friends are losing their women's spouses. And life is going to start looking different for the other person really soon. And I asked a girlfriend of mine who just lost her husband to prostate cancer, are you planning on remarrying? And she said, absolutely not. She said, at our age, the only thing I'll become is a caregiver for somebody, because no, it's not like I'm going to have a relationship with a 20-year-old. So
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I get it. She said, I've worked hard for where I'm at. I can travel. I'm free to go, whatever. I don't have to check in with anybody. I'm good. And I had a loving relationship, and no one will ever replace John. And that's kind of the way I feel with B. If something ever happened to him, I know that there was never going to be a replacement. There just can't be. And no one will ever love me the way he loved me. And so I I don't see myself ever being in another relationship, or when you've had the best, where do you go from there? No one's ever going to satisfy, so why bother? So,
Yeah. I wish I could say that, but,
well, there's
but
still time for you. There's still
yeah,
time.
but again, I'm not looking for it because, uh, two down, I don't want a third. Thanks.
I get you. I get you. But when you're not looking for it, that's usually when it happens, and that's usually when the best one happens.
I hope so. And you met in Vegas.
We met
So,
in Vegas. Yes, he lived there. He worked for GE Capital at the time.
oh,
He was in management with GE Capital. I was on the road with Paul Mitchell doing hair classes all over the country, and working in a salon and doing my thing. And we were at a great big gathering for Paul Mitchell hair products in Las Vegas for a week. It's called the Ultimate Gathering. It happens every year. And I was there and spent a week there in Vegas. And my friend said, hey, why don't you stay? Because I had friends in Vegas. And they're like, since you're here and it's the weekend, stay and leave Monday, because you got to go back to work on Tuesday. I'm like, that's a great idea. So that night we went out, and that's when I met B. And the first thing B asked me, because I was just drawn to him. We locked eyes, and that's all it was. And he just said, will you walk with me? And I turned to my friends, and totally out of character for myself, I turned to my friends and I said, I'm going for a walk. I'll be back in a little bit. 2.5 hours later, we were walking up and down the strip and just talking. And I had the most incredible conversation with him. It was like we had known each other for years. I knew he was my person that night. And he told me later, I knew you were the one. And
oh,
so, yeah.
yeah.
See, the best one happened to her at 60. So never say never.
No, no.
Never
I'm,
say never.
yeah,
I'll just say
I'm
this.
good.
I can't imagine ever being loved the way that I've been shown love by my husband. I just can't imagine that.
And if something happened and anybody tried to measure up, they wouldn't be able to.
And
So,
they just wouldn't be able to. Yeah. There are days. There are days I want to rip his head off. But that's called marriage.
yeah,
That's called marriage. I always say to people, there's no such thing as a perfect life. If you can find someone in life that you can honestly say you like, that you enjoy spending time with, take a good look, because that person probably has some qualities to offer. Um, and then take a look at yourself, because you may not be what you're projecting or thinking you're projecting out there to attract what you really want.
yeah, Yep.
Be true to yourself. I hope in this conversation that your listeners and the listeners to this vlog are hearing, be true to yourself. Because it's hard for people to love you when they don't see the true you. When you're true to yourself and showing them the true you, then you have nothing to hide or come back from.
Yep. Yeah, it's, something just popped up. Oh, I can't reply to it. Good. Okay. And then we wouldn't need to be here if things were perfect. Right.
That's very true,
Yeah.
Michelle, because I think we're put on this earth to learn lessons. And there's no such thing as perfection because people don't learn anything in perfection. When I learned my most valuable lessons were through my trials and tribulations. They weren't through my successes. So, I that's my big takeaway. I encourage mistakes. I encourage breaking walls. I encourage all of that because that's where you really learn things about yourself. You learn things about relationships. You learn things that you didn't know before. And even if you learn a little bit, you're better off.
Yeah, definitely.
And I hope that people out there can understand um, the part about being trans that, we're just people. I'm someone's brother. I'm somebody's uncle. I'm somebody's um, father. I'm somebody's husband, but I'm also somebody's sister. I'm also somebody's aunt. I'm also somebody's grandmother. Um,
It's Harley. I'm loving this
oh,
little
you're so
life.
very welcome. You're so very welcome. And I learn from these types of things too. From the comments, I get takeaways too. So thank you. Um, but we all know, even though you don't think trust me when I tell you, a transgender person.
Yep.
We all do. You may say, no, I've never met one. I guarantee you've met a transgender person.
Yep.
And they're all somebody's child,
Yes.
and that's the takeaway. We are all somebody's child. So be nice to each other.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no reason. I mean, everybody is a person.
Mm-hmm.
And as we always used to say, they put on their pants one leg at a time, just like you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it is important to get this information out. And you were one of the first people I thought of
Oh, thank you. Thank
when
you.
I wanted to do this. So, because you have a story that I don't know who else has. Yes,
Well,
I might know somebody else, but you've been through the transition, not just calling yourself trans. You know what I'm saying?
true.
Both
True.
mentally, emotionally, physically, uh, your relationship with your husband, and you also have family relationships that you're still working on.
Absolutely. Well, they're
But
all, no matter how, no matter where we go in life, it's always a work in progress, whether it's with family, friends, loved ones, whatever. It's always a work in progress. And I find as a human being, I'm always working on myself. I'm always finding out new things about myself. And maybe I didn't feel as much as I thought about a certain thing as I did before. Maybe, you know, I just think through learning and through knowledge, we learn more about things to have better understandings and to be more accepting. One of the reasons I didn't fully change my name on my birth certificate was because right now in Texas, here we go with that again. Um, they just passed a law here in Texas that if you are transgender and you had your driver's license and or birth certificate changed to suit who you now are, the state is now requiring even the passport, when they come up for renewal, they're being changed back to what was originally on your birth certificate. So even though you're a transgender woman with breast and a vagina and everything else, you're still listed as Pete Smith, male. I mean, and if you're arrested, you're going to be thrown in a male prison, not a female prison. Now, how do you put a male that has a vagina and breast in a male prison? What do you think's going to happen there?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just sad. It's just sad that we can't. Oh, just it irritates me.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's Texas. And hopefully a lot more states are more open minded and understanding. Now, I know we've talked earlier about,
Thank you, Brenda.
we talked about my specific question. And so when you're talking about um, uh, prisons, it comes up again with this question. Um, oh, competing is what I went. But I had also seen an article saying that um, pregnancy in women's prisons are up 100%
Oh yeah.
because trans have been in the women's. But again, not everyone that calls themselves trans are actually trans. You've talked about that.
that's that's correct. That is correct. Some people put on a pair of high heels and stockings and think that they're trans. They want to call themselves trans. That's not trans. You're a cross dresser. And it's I don't like that. And the reason, not because I'm trans or because I don't like the way someone's identifying, I don't like it because it confuses the mass majority, which are straight people. I understood what LGBT was, and I'm on that spectrum,
Mhm.
and I still don't get what the QIA, STLP, and all the other letters are afterwards. It's like, when is enough enough? We don't need 50 different flags to show. The gay flag, the gay pride flag was enough for me. I don't need a transgender flag. There are other transgender people that feel differently. We're not cookie cutter. We don't all think the same thing. Same thing when it comes to transgender competing in sports.
Thank you.
I I don't know how I think about that, and I will tell you why I don't know how I think about that. Off the cuff, I understand why people would not want transgender people competing in sports. First of all, the physiological aspect of it. Men are stronger than women. But I can tell you this, as someone that's gone through hormonal therapy. I used to be strong, and Julie, you can attest that you've
Yes.
seen me work in a yard,
Yeah.
and I work like three men work when I work in a yard. I'm digging trenches, I'm doing all of that stuff. In saying that, that was pre hormone. Since my hormone, I've noticed the muscle in my arms have gone, my skin has become more smooth. I don't have the muscle mass that I had as a male. So it did physiologically change me where I can't lift as heavy items as I once lifted. I don't have the stamina that I once had. So to say that I'm still a male because of the piece of skin dangling, I don't, it's so much more than that. It is so much more than that. So, but I also understand that men are built bigger to begin with than women. Look at a man's hands, look at a man's back. So there are some sports where it's indirect contact or
It's
no
true.
direct contact, like running.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see a problem with some sports. Now, boxing or boxing, not only no, but hell no. I don't want. I mean, because a man's arms are longer than a woman's, primarily, or in most cases. So I don't think that would be an even battle. So I I don't know that there can be lines drawn, and I don't really know how I feel about that yet, because there's still so much to be there's still so much unknown and so much to be learned about it. I don't think that I don't think on a professional level that it should happen.
Well, one of the questions I have, and because of what you said, I understand the hormone therapy and all, but there have been a lot of men competing in whether it's tennis or other sports, even in running, uh,
Swimming.
swimming, yeah, that basketball, all of those, that this year competed as a man. In a year, they want to compete as a woman. I think, and this is my opinion after hearing you, take a 5 year transitioning before you can do that. And you got to be having those hormones.
Absolutely. I do agree that there must be a certain criteria
Yes.
for the people that are competing. You have had to have so many years of hormonal therapy, some so much surgery, so many hours of surgery, whatever the criteria is, there
Yeah.
has to be a criteria met
Yeah.
in order. Now, definitely, the hormone should be on that criteria because it physiologically changes your body.
Yeah.
Everything about it, to be honest with you, it's everything. I, we could be watching, and I could be as hard as the next person. I really could. And in business, I was very hard. But I'm as hard now as a 3-day-old puppy. I mean, I cry. I cry at a toilet tissue commercial if it's I mean, every little thing gets me emotional. I find that I'm more emotional about everyday things in life,
Yeah.
the way people talk to me, the way. Absolutely.
Yeah. But when you had said that you went through, dealt with a psychiatrist or psychiatrist for 5 years, that to me should be the minimum transition between male athlete and a trans athlete. Minimum
Correct.
5.
Correct.
Because
Absolutely. But see, there again, and this my situation is very different because of my health issues with my heart, and the cancer scare that caused major neurological damage in my body. I have horrible, horrible neuropathy in my feet and in my hands. My hands feel like they're asleep half the time, and I feel like I have shards of hot glass going through the bottoms of my feet. Because of all of that, I was unable to complete my transition to where I wanted it to be.
yeah, at your age. And one of the things you mentioned about men have longer arms. Well, most of the time, they have longer legs too. Um, I competed in a 5K, my very first 5K. I wasn't really running the entire time, and it was in 2015. And I'm excited because everybody in front of me that is my age, there was only one other person, female, one other.
Mhm.
And I go up near the podium and get ready to get second place. Or no, actually, there was two women, and they call a name, and the person stands up, or the person goes forward, at least 6'3", and looks very male to me, and says, yes, I'm a woman. And this is in 2015. This is when you began yours. And I'm going, wait a minute. There should have been an asterisk on that because, excuse me, that person's legs so much longer than mine. There's no
But
way I'm 6'4". So.
look at Brittany Griner from the from the WNBA.
Yeah.
6'7" or something like that.
Yeah.
She was
Well,
born female. I mean, would you say it's unfair because she has longer legs than you?
no, because she was born that. That's what I'm saying. This was a man at one time. I'm just saying.
Okay.
He was born male. There's no way the person in front of me could have been born female. There was nothing. Nothing. Right. And wearing shorts, nothing has changed. So it's like, I didn't understand this. I accepted it, but it's like, I was going, wait a minute. If that's happening to me here in 2015, what's going on with the rest of the world competing? So
there was a question on your blog that says, regarding sports, I wonder if age also plays a part when transitioning. The younger you are, the stronger your muscles stay. Yes and no. Because once you start hormonal therapies, that muscle starts to break down. So you're through drug, you are diminishing your muscle mass. That's part of it. So your muscle does not stay the same. And once you've diminished it, it takes much longer to build it back than it does just for it to perpetuate as a child.
Yeah.
So I don't think that being younger makes the muscles stay stronger. I don't think that that's true. No. As a matter of fact, if you start your transition early enough in life, before the muscles even begin, that's most optimal choice for most transitioning people, is to do it young enough. And that's what we're fighting here in Texas again with our legislation here. It's against the law here to give someone under a certain age hormonal therapy. Look, why do you think those beatings took place as a child? Because my parents knew what they had. Yeah. Parents that are offering hormonal therapy to their children already know what they have. And it's been there. It didn't just happen yesterday. Right. These are kids wanting to live as the opposite sex, that have a hard time dressing their normal sex. I mean, and we're in a time now where everything it's just be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's true for most people. They can just be themselves. But for a whole nother section of our population, they can't just be themselves. It's not part of the cards, and it's not. And as unfair as it seems, that's life. It's just part of life. It's been going on for hundreds and thousands of years. But I will also tell you that being gay and being transgender has been around for that many years too. Yeah. There's a certain name for them in the Native American society. They were looked upon, transgender people in their culture were looked upon as spiritual guiders, because they believed they saw through both windows, through both souls. So, wow. And they were around in Roman days, back in when the Roman Empire, that all of that took place then too. So we can try to abolish, you can try to do so many things, but you're never gonna erase history. You're never gonna erase a whole section of humanity off the face of the earth. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Because the more you attempt, the more are coming in. It's like,
well, absolutely. And plus, who would want to do that? Who would you go to get your hair done? Who, who would you go to for a wonderful dress design? Who would you go to for fabulous Christmas decorations? I mean, who?
Yes, we know women do that too. I'm just saying. But yeah. And I did go down the street to get my hair cut from T many times. And sometimes would say, hey, you need a cut. Because for 2 years, I just worked at my mom's house and trying to get things taken care of, back and forth to Arizona,
You were an
driving.
angel. I don't know how you did it. I really did. I stood in awe of you. I really did.
Well, I love the fact that the area in which you lived had so many running trails. I was up to 10K a day, and I've never felt so much more alive than I did then. My body, I I was getting older, but my body was getting more and more healthy, and it's healthy today because of it. So, playing the role of a guide. Yeah, okay. The indigenous societies that you were role of a guide.
Hmm. That's
And
right.
yeah,
And they're not the only culture to have done that. It was a lot of the geishas in Japan were young men.
okay. And in
So,
Thailand too. That's a
oh, it's huge in Thailand. It
yeah.
is transgender in Thailand is like saying, uh, I don't know. It's just so common there. It is just they call them ladyboy.
Yeah.
That's their terminology for transgender. They're ladyboy, and they're beautiful. A lot of the Asian culture that they're just the transgender Asians are just incredibly beautiful, and they start young. They start like 12, 13 before the male body really has a chance to develop, and they look truly feminine. The hormones will stunt growth. It stunts muscle growth. It stunts all of that. Hair growth. That was the best part of the hormones to me was not having to shave legs and do all that stuff. It's all about the simple things in life.
Well, you still went through hair removal, right? Or you go.
Okay, so that's a good question. So I still have to shave my face every single day because I waited so long. I now have gray hair, and laser treatment does not work on gray hair. It has to be pigmented.
Oh, so
Yeah,
white hair
white
too.
hair. You cannot laser white hair. It will not. It won't do anything to it. I know. I
Now
know.
you tell me.
Now you ask.
Well, yeah, I had no idea. I was thinking I I
So
want to get that done, but
I
now I
still
can't
have
either.
to shave. I still have to shave every day, and it's embarrassing. I'm lucky that my hair was never super thick. I've always like today. I haven't shaved.
And I
I
can't
shaved.
really tell.
I shaved yesterday morning, so it's been well over 24 hours since I shaved. But yeah, so that's one of the things. And as a matter of fact, you're going to love this story. This is so funny. Back when I first, right after I first got my facelift, of course, I couldn't shave for like 2 months because I had staples and stitches everywhere. So I finally shaved one day and I went in to my husband. I said, he said, "Oh, babe, your skin looks so good." I said, "Thank you." And it looks so tight. Oh my gosh, you look so young. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "But I've got it. I need a haircut." And I said, "Because I've got hair, crazy hair growing right here." And he looked and he started laughing. I had hair behind my ear that was like this long. And I'm like, "What in the world where did that come from?" He said, when they did your facelift and neck lift, they pulled the skin from here all the way up behind your ear. So now when I shave, I have to start way up here behind my ear and come down. But you know what? I don't care. I'll take it.
Yeah. Now, have you tried waxing? After time, the follicles weaken.
I have been waxed. I get a full body wax every 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh my.
It's about a 2 hour process, but I don't have to shave for 6 weeks. As far as my face goes, I would not do that to my face only because your skin on your face is more sensitive and it would cause bleeding. My face would be raw all the
Oh,
time.
okay.
So,
Almost like that picture.
yeah, that was laser treatment on my face. That was scar removal laser treatment because I had scars underneath here from when they took out my uh, Adam's apple. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that's understandable. Because that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that is like, is that the hair removal? But now you're saying you can't do that. But can you get it waxed back here?
I can, but it's so thick that would hurt. And it comes
Uh,
back because it's part of the facial hair. It comes back much faster.
oh,
The facial hair is a different hair,
yeah.
body hair. It's more coarse, more thick. So, and
Wow.
it's had 60 years of shaving. It's not going to go away. You know, like, I've trained it to come back.
Yes. Yes.
Fortunately,
Yep. Understand. So you got to be careful. So if you guys want to get your hair removed, make sure it still has color in it before you do that.
pigmented. That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's wow. Well, this has been enlightening, and I really appreciate you coming in. Anytime you want to talk, because a lot of people came in. Some of the guys that I was expecting did not show up, but I'm sure they're going to be watching it um, afterwards because
That's
most of
so.
them have to work. So, but
That's
I know there's a couple that would really appreciate that. I know Victor did. He's already
I,
left. Hi, B. How are you doing? It's been a
good.
long time.
Yeah,
Everyone, this is B. This is T's.
that's
B
that's
and T. I love that.
that's my other half. I always say, I never say that's my better half because
No.
I don't want to give him that. But so I'm T. His name is Buren, but he goes by the letter B. So we're B and T. Our last name is Leitch. So we're really a BLT.
Oh, wow. Loving it.
I want to thank you for having me. Thank you for this podium to be able to tell my story and to hopefully enlighten some of the listeners. Um, I hope if we even reached one person, that that to me is wonderful, and I'm happy with that. Hopefully, we reached many more today. Thank you for all of those on here that were able to reach out and be part of the discussion or ask questions or gave your comments. They were all appreciated. I appreciate everyone's time here today for this matter and for your interest.
So
Oh,
great to meet you.
you're quite welcome, and I'm glad to be part of it. So there you go. Um, and I'm sure I'll be back on at another time. Oh, you're quite welcome, Brenda, anytime. And again, we'll try to be back on here again.
Yeah. And
Hello.
if oh, Harley's saying hello, B. We've heard such wonderful things about you. You
Oh,
have a loving heart. Um, and Brenda, if you're ever in the San Antonio area, and if you're in the Houston area, get a hold of Brenda.
we'll look each other up. That's right. There you go.
And you're both on Facebook, so that's good. And
Thank
this
you.
world is getting smaller and smaller, and that's why I'm bringing more people because they have such unique stories that I can't even portray them when I think about UT and what you've gone through. There's been certain things that would happen. I mean, I keep remembering the greenhouse being walked down the street
I do
and different things like
that. So we have to tell the story now. So when Julie's mother died, she had a greenhouse in the backyard, and Julie was giving some of the things away because they were renovating the house. Asked about the greenhouse, and I said, "Well, I love that greenhouse." And she said, "Well, it's yours." I said, "But I don't." I said, "We'll have to take it apart." She said, "Oh no, I've got boys." Her boys lifted that greenhouse. I'll never forget, over a privacy fence, and moved it like 6 houses down the street. They walked it in the middle of the street down 6 houses, and I had this beautiful, lovely greenhouse that I got to enjoy while we had that house. And I raised many beautiful plants in it, and Dee was definitely there in that greenhouse when I would go in. So,
yeah. I'm sure she was helping out.
yes, she was.
Yeah. And
But
and those
having me,
boys are what? Go ahead.
I said, thank you for having me. This has been a treat,
Yeah.
and um, I just appreciate the forum to be able to come and speak. Thank you.
And thank you for all you do. And continue the good work in spreading the kindness and the love that you do spread, because I know you and B have such a strong love for each other that it radiates to others as well.
You know what I always say: love, light, and peace.
Of light and peace. And if you can hang on, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone else. And
Also,
um, hopefully, I don't know who's coming on Friday, but I will post that soon. So thank you guys so much for coming in, everyone, and please share, because these his T stories need to be shared, because it's not just T going through this or B going through it with T. It's everyone is dealing with that. Everyone knows someone who is trans. So be kind, be loving, and thank you guys so much for coming in. And if I can make it to the right spot, we'll get going. Thank you so much.